our leaders, our ancestors who fought the wars of resistance, their heads, their remains are sitting in jars throughout Europe. And the same people have the audacity to come to Africa and talk to us about human rights.
This is the journey to One Africa.
My name is Arikana Chiumbori. I was born in Zimbabwe, some little village called Chivu. Came to this country to go to college on the first degree in general chemistry and a master's in organic chemistry, went on to medical school. Then did a residency in general surgery and family medicine, practiced medicine for 25 years until one night. Around 3 a.m., a phone call comes in and says, Doc, the African Union ambassador to the United States has resigned. She was going to be running for president of her country, and that we would want you to be the next African Union ambassador to the United States. Now keep in mind, I am a scientist through and through. So who in their right mind would want me to become an ambassador in Washington? I thought that was a joke and it was laughable. Well, I fought it for about 6 months, but because being an African, after a while I had to listen to my elders. So I figured, okay, if you think you're putting a joke on me, the joke is on you, because I'm going to only go to Washington for 6 months and then I'll come back. And I'll tell my elders that I tried, but I couldn't do it. But something happened during the first 4 to 5 months. And mind you, I'm staying in a hotel because I knew I wasn't going to get into a contract, renting or buying, that I wasn't going to last. But what was very disturbing was the disrespect that was so blatant. I would be sitting in meetings initially, because you know, as a doctor, you're always a doctor no matter where you are. And I thought it was really quite humorous sitting with all these big diplomats, and here I am, a medical doctor, and I'm supposed to be useful. I'm busy diagnosing them, you know, you got a thyroid condition, you are bipolar, and I got a pill for you. I'm not really paying attention to the deliberations, because I don't think politicians accomplish much anyway. So it was more important to diagnose them and their medical conditions. But every now and then somebody will say something and I'm like, wait just a minute, did they just say that? You know? And one particular event, there was a whole team of African ministers and one particular leader of a particular department in Washington started raising their voice and screaming and yelling at them. You Africans, you will never speak with one voice. This document over here is going to be a piece of paper 20 years from now. I said, okay. So we got all the ministers here. Somebody say something. It wasn't my show. I was like third. You know how you sit, you got your team leader, and then according to rank, I was number 3. So clearly I wasn't supposed to speak. I waited for those who were supposed to speak. They did not. More and more of those situations became apparent to me. And I remember 5 months into my stay in Washington, I called home and I said, well, you know what, guys, I'm going to hang around a little bit longer. There were a few, you know what, that needed a good kicking. And that I was going to hang around until they ran me out of Dodge, and that's exactly what happened. The disrespect is not just for the Africans on the continent. The disrespect is for black people around the world. The abuse is not just for Africans on the continent. The abuse is for black people wherever you find us. I'm going to share with you some basic facts. You see, our story is a simple one. Our story is of truth and facts, which are two constants that do not change. And all we need to do is give the world an overdose of our truth and insist on it. As we speak today, I'm going to take you back centuries, long before the children of Africa were taken out of Africa as slaves. There was some serious resistance when the occupiers from the West came to Africa, contrary to what some might think. They didn't just give up their children, but the fighting began long before slavery. And the resistance was those who led them, the majority of them, their heads, as we speak today, are sitting in jars in Europe. Are you aware of that? Our leaders, our ancestors who fought the wars of resistance, their heads, their remains are sitting in jars throughout Europe. And the same people have the audacity to come to Africa and talk to us about human rights. But what's even more disturbing is that we entertain them and we don't remind them of these skeletons in their closet. As we speak today, the priceless artifacts that they stole from all over Africa are sitting in their museums throughout Europe. And when you and I, when we visit Europe, we pay to see what belongs to us. Evidence of theft, evidence of murder in display, on display, in plain sight. As we speak today, black people are listed as 3/5 of a human being in the US Constitution. As we speak today, the redlining continues. As we speak today, African countries are being made to pay ridiculous interest rates on loans that they should not be paying for. Correct. As we speak today, reparations are due. Everybody else has been given reparations, expect us. The question then becomes, what is wrong with this picture? Why aren't you and I standing up and demanding that what is right must be done? I can tell you why. Because no other race would stand for a minute what is being done to us. How long do you think a finger of a British soldier lasts in Zimbabwe? How long do you think a thumb of a German soldier lasts in Namibia? Not even a minute. They would storm in, kill hundreds, if not thousands of people just to recover that one finger. Why is it that we are unable to come together and speak our truth and demand that what needs to be done must be done? It's because they defeated us where it matters the most, which is the mind. It started with the missionaries in Africa long before slavery. They were sent by the Roman Catholic Church to subdue the Africans, make them believe that when you get slapped, turn the other cheek, and that your riches are in heaven. So by the time they followed with the colonizers to rape and rape Africa, we were already brainwashed. We were meant to believe everything African was bad and undesirable, and everything European was better. And the same brainwashing continued as our children were taken out of Africa enslaved. It continued on the plantations, color gradations, light-skinned versus dark-skinned, field workers versus kitchen workers. To this day, we suffer from the legacy of slavery and the legacy of colonization. For how long are we going to continue to suffer from this affliction? For it is singularly the reason why we are not able to come together just like other races and nationalities have done in this melting pot that is the United States of America. When you ask for the voices of the Irish Americans loud and clear, Jewish Americans loud and clear, German Americans, Italian Americans, Chinese Americans, Indian Americans, their voices are loud and clear. But when you ask for the voices of us black people, you might as well go to the graveyard because we are missing in action. We were taught, we were brainwashed into not even loving ourselves as individuals, let alone each other. We were taught not to trust one another. We were taught not to believe that my brother can, my sister can, but somebody else who doesn't look like you and I is better. The question I have for all of you, just close your eyes and think about your children, your grandchildren. Is this the world you want to leave behind for them? If the answer is no, then you need to have a serious conversation with the image in the mirror. Because it is the image in the mirror that must change. It is the image in the mirror that must understand that you are sick from this affliction of the legacy of slavery. You are not sick at home. You are not sick in the doctor's waiting room. You are not sick in the hospital ward. You are sick in the intensive care. How long are we going to continue to support other people's agendas? Those who stood up to fight during the civil rights movement, during the Pan-African days in Africa, civil rights in the United States, they were all silenced. We are emerging out of a period of 20 to 30 years where just nothing is going on. We are all fast asleep. When are we going to wake up? Reverend Al Sharpton is saying, the time to wake up is now. Reparations now. We know all the companies that benefited from slavery. We have their name. We have the list. They must pay. As we speak, many have pledged their contributions. Guess what's going to happen, my brothers and sisters? Because we are not organized, we will never realize those funds. And they will hide behind, oh, they are disorganized. They don't know what they are doing. I am now going to be asking Reverend Al Sharpton to lead us as we demand those reparations. We need to register a global Pan-African fund that can make sure that we have development in black communities where it belongs. Those funds must be organized. Those funds must be paid for. Reparations for black people now. No more shall we continue to be abused. No more Shall they continue to exploit our Africa? What is in Africa is our birthright, and we are going home to take it. No more shall we be told Africa is a diseased and dying continent, because they are going to Africa in droves and telling you to not go there. So this moment is calling for unity of purpose. And before I leave this platform, I'm going to ask all of you to take a moment. If you love your children, if you love your grandchildren and their future, to have a serious conversation with Image in the mirror. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. I thank you. African diaspora. The more I begin to understand not only our Africa, but the more I begin to understand us as black people, why is it that we are the most disrespected people on earth, no matter where you find us on this globe? They often wondered why these black people are so smart and so indestructible. Maybe it's because of that third eye. No, it is the melanin. That's what makes us special. That's what makes us the origin of humanity, which is our motherland. Our motherland, Africa. The continent with everything and anything the world needs. The continent that everybody is going to for their needs. But the continent that we, the children of Africa, are busy running away from. That keeps me up every night. The more I try to dig deeper in understanding as to why Africa is where Africa is today, I couldn't help but find myself repeatedly going back to the beginning to say, how did we end up where we are as Africans? How did we get here? Not only as black people, but as Africans. The colonizers started coming to Africa, starting with the Portuguese, followed with slavery. But by 1884, after they had been haphazardly going into our continent, looting from the Africans, pretty soon they started looting from each other the loot that they had looted from the Africans. And before you know it, they were killing each other. And they were getting ready to have a war, a European war on the African soil. So Bismarck, the Chancellor of Germany at that time, called his sidekick Leopold, King Leopold of Belgium, said, listen, we got a problem. We're getting ready to kill each other and have a European war in Africa. Why don't we call all the colonizers? That was France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Belgium, and of course the mighty Britain. Let's all meet in Berlin, Germany, and strategize on how we can organize ourselves so we can effectively see to it that Africa and her children are forever defeated and dominated. They proceeded to chop up our Africa into tiny little countries that we know of today. Economies that are designed to see to it that they will never make it on their own. And in the event those small economies do make it, they're easy to destabilize. Who, in their right mind, puts a country together like Gambia, Burundi, Togo, Djibouti, Lesotho, Swaziland, and many, if not all, African countries. Each one of them was given the same sovereignty as China, as India. if this world was to be a boxing game. You see, in boxing, they understand that heavyweights belong in the heavyweight boxing ring, middleweights in the middleweights, lightweights and wannabes in their rings. Wannabes are way out there. You don't take a wannabe boxer and throw them in the same ring with the heavyweight. But what's being done to our Africa, let's start negotiating. It's country against country. Countries, please stand up. Little Gambia stands up. And Gambia is supposed to negotiate with China. Lesotho is supposed to negotiate with India. Swaziland must jump in with the United States. Djibouti, you must go in. You see, the Europeans realized as individual European countries, they can make it. So they came together as the European Union. So they negotiate as a bloc. So yeah, Djibouti, you go in with EU. And when the African countries lose, the world stands back and says, oh, what's wrong with you, African countries? Why aren't you able to manage your people? How can that be? Where is the parity? African countries are wannabe boxers who are constantly being thrown into the heavyweight boxing ring, and we are getting our rear ends kicked day in and day out. (1884), fast forward 2019, nothing has changed. The strategy that was put in place to see to it that Africa and her children are forever defeated and dominated remains alive and well. And yet in our minds we tend to think Berlin Conference is a thing of the past. Well, my brothers and sisters, Berlin Conference is alive and well. And allow me to take it home for you. Have you ever wondered why intra-Africa trade is sitting at 18%? I'll tell you why. We have 43 different currencies on the continent. It's difficult to trade with each other because of the currencies. It's easier for us to exchange with the US dollar, with the euro, than with each other. Why is that, Berlin Conference? It's easier for Mozambique to send Mozambican oil outside Mozambique to Europe and everywhere else, just so Zimbabwe next door can buy it from across the oceans. It's easier for a company that's manufacturing the best ceramic tiles in Africa, in Egypt. That company sends its tiles to Italy, only for the Africans to turn around and buy the same tiles, 20, 30 times the cost. Why is it that we are not trading with each other? It's because, starting in South Africa, there's a road that goes up until maybe 2-3 kilometers from the border with Botswana. And that same road picks up 2-3 kilometers into Botswana. And if only we could connect the two. But Berlin Conference said, no, you're different. You're another country. You can't look at it this way. If we were to connect all the existing power lines in Africa today, we would provide electricity to 30 million more people. And in the process, we would save $20 billion. But the reason we can't connect the power lines, thanks to Berlin Conference. We're different countries. We can cross that border. Why are our children crossing the Mediterranean in search of nothing? It's because little Gambia can only create so many jobs. And a young man in Gambia, which is surrounded by Senegal, cannot go to Senegal and look for a job. Thanks to the Berlin Conference. Question then becomes, if you look at all the issues we're dealing with today in Africa, one by one, every one of them relates back to the Berlin Conference and our inability to work together as one continent, one Africa, speaking with one voice. Thanks to Berlin Conference.
This is the journey to one Africa.